guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm actually recording this after my interview with Jessica. I'm interviewing a girl named Jessica Allen today. She is 16, I believe. She has gone through a lot. She's probably the strongest person I've ever met in my entire life. This is kind of a heavy interview, but I think it will help a lot of people that have gone through the same things. So just to give a little preview, Jessica has been sexually abused. She had diagnosed anorexia nervosa, diagnosed anxiety and depression, and attempted suicide in October of 2019. So I just wanted to give some facts about all of these things that she's gone through, because it's honestly horrifying to see how many people struggle with things that are so hard to deal with, and I can't even fathom how much she's gone through dealing with all of these things. So 1 in 4 women and 1 out of 6 men are sexually abused in their lifetime. In 8 out of 10 rape cases, the victim knows the attacker, and only 28% of victims report their sexual abuse to the police. And among those reports, only 2% are ever false. 1 in 3 children, like girls, and 1 in 7 boys will get sexually assaulted by the time they reach 18. So Jessica had anorexia nervosa, and that's basically where you just don't eat. There's tons of different types of eating disorders. There's bulimia, and that's where you like throw up your food, and just a bunch of other ones. So at least 30 million people of all ages and genders suffer from eating disorders in the U.S. Every 62 minutes, at least one person dies as a direct result from an eating disorder. Eating disorders have the highest fatality rate of any mental illness. 13% of women over the age of 50 engage in eating disorder behaviors. Eating disorders affect all races and ethnic groups, genetics, and environmental factors and personality traits all combine to create risk for an eating disorder. Jessica also suffered from depression, and so here's a few facts about depression. Depression affects approximately 17.3 million American adults, or about 7.1% of the U.S. population. Age 18 and older, depression is more prevalent in women than men. 1.9 million children have diagnosed depression in the U.S. as of 2017. Depression is the cause of over 2/3 of the 30,000 reports of suicide in the U.S. each year. Suicide risk with people who have depression is always 20%. Suicide was the second leading cause of death among individuals between the ages of 10 and 34, and the 4th leading cause of death among individuals between 35 to 54 in 2018. So as you can probably see, that like all of these things kind of combine together to create just such a toxic environment for people who have gone through even just one. Personally, I've struggled with some of these things that she's also gone through, and I couldn't imagine going through it the way that she has. And I really hope that this interview can help people and realize that nobody is alone. There's always going to be somebody who cares. So that's all for me. I hope that you guys enjoy. Okay, so everybody, this is Jessica Allen. It's actually a funny story. I think my mom knew your friend's mom that posted something on her Facebook. Is that how I came in contact, I think?
Yeah, so my mom's best friend, Crystal,
Okay.
posted on Facebook about it, and then your mom reached out to her.
Okay.
Your mom was like her family teacher or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
I guess so. Okay, so would you like to kind of introduce yourself? Tell us about your family, your age, where you're raised, your school, your goals, and yeah. So.
Yeah, okay. So I'm Jessica Allen. I'm turning 17 next month. I'm the youngest of six siblings. And my hobbies are just like singing, dancing, and just hanging out with friends.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Are you going in? So you told me that you were graduating, but are you going into? Would you have been going into your senior year?
Yes, I would be going to my senior year in August, but I'm graduating a year early, so I'm just going to be starting college instead.
You're so smart. I don't know why I didn't do that. So we're the same age, basically.
Yeah.
I think. Are you 16? Still?
Yeah, I'm 16.
Oh, okay. Okay. So what do you want to pursue in your career? Like, what's something that you want to do?
So I want to be an RN, which is a registered nurse.
Okay.
So I'm either going to do that or do my CNA because I want to be able to go like work in the nursery with the babies.
That's fun.
Yeah, and then after that, I'm wanting to go into esthetician school.
Okay.
So
that's cool.
Thanks.
It's a lot of college.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, so tell us a little bit about your story and why I asked you to be here.
Okay. So you asked me to come here to share about my story of ODing, trying to kill myself, and then me going into an eating disorder clinic. So pretty much I OD'd on October 24th because I just had a lot of stuff going on in family. Like, I wasn't on speaking terms with anybody in my family. I was having a lot of stuff going on at school, as in like bullying and all that stuff. And so I decided I just couldn't do it anymore, that I didn't want to breathe, that I didn't want to speak or anything. And I just wanted it to be done with. So then that night, after I took the pills, I was like, I should not have done that. Like, it was like instant regret. And I went into my parents' room and I told them, and they like watched me the whole night while I was sleeping. And that morning we went into the hospital here.
Okay.
And I was there for 2 days on an IV for 22 hours.
Really?
Just because I have a liver disease also.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the pills inflamed my liver.
Oh my gosh.
Like really bad. So I was there, and then they transported me up to McCady up in Ogden. And I was there for a total of 9 days, and it's like a psych ward, like they call it a psych ward, and it's just for kids that are like struggling and try to kill themselves or just are having family problems. And I went to groups there, so it'd be like we would eat, go to groups, and then they told me I needed more help before I could come home because I wasn't stable yet. So they ended up sending me to West Ridge Academy, which is in West Jordan. And I was there for a total of 10 days, which the average stay there is 3 to 6 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I was there, and everything was going good, but I was not eating at all. Like, I would not eat. Like, the most I would eat was probably like an apple or a banana.
Seriously?
And then I'd be done. And my parents came to visit me, because we're not allowed to call or have visits until like after a month. And my parents came to visit for family therapy, and they could just tell that I was like super, super sick. And I was also on the basketball team there, and I couldn't even play anymore because I was having a hard time walking. Like, I was about to pass out. Like, I was always lightheaded. And so my parents came and got me the next day and took me to primary children's, where they diagnosed me with anorexia nervosa, which is just like you're starving yourself pretty much. And I was there for a total of 9 days on an eating disorder diet, which is, so you have to eat 100% of your meal, and if you don't, you have to boost. And a boost is like a protein shake to make up for the calories. And so I did all that, and then they realized how bad my eating disorder was, so they sent me to Center for Change, which is in Orem, Utah, and it's an eating disorder clinic. And I was there for a total of 3 months with the same eating disorder diet. So inpatient unit is like where you're like super close to death, you're having a hard time. And I was there for a month, And there's like so many feeding tubes, like people are on feeding tubes 24/7 just because they won't eat. And I ended up getting moved to adolescent unit, which is like our age,
Yeah.
because the inpatient was like mixed with the adults and the adolescents. And so I moved up to adolescent and I was there for 2 months. And I finally got weight restored, which means I'm the weight that I'm supposed to be. And I ended up getting to discharge on January 28th to come home.
Wow. That's, jeez.
Yeah.
Me and Jessica talked a little bit before, like, about her story, and, like, I heard about it. And one thing that you told me that, like, things started out when you were really young and you got sexually abused.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask you, what age was that at?
I was 8 years old when I got sexually abused.
Really?
Yes.
Did you, like, tell your parents or somebody?
So what happened is I was at my friend's house and I just told her like what happened. I didn't know that it was wrong. Like I was like, okay, like this happened. And she ended up telling her mom. And her mom ended up telling the bishop. And while we were at church, like my bishop called my parents and had to tell them.
Really?
Yeah.
So you knew the person then?
Yes.
Okay. Did it ever occur more than once?
Yes, it happened every day for 2 years.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So did the police ever get involved? Like,
so the person like ended up having to go to like therapy and everything because they're still minor. Like they couldn't. Yeah. So
okay.
he was going to therapy for a while, and then he ended up getting in trouble when we were in high school and had to go up to T. So he was in juvenile detention, and that was one of his felonies that were on there.
Oh, seriously?
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. So, what do you think, like, going into high school and stuff, do you think that, like, what happened with that, did that, like, contribute to, like, choices that you made and stuff, like, how you felt about yourself and your self-esteem?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I went into high school, and I ended up, like, losing my virginity, like, technically, and that just, like, took me downhill. Like, I was getting flashbacks, like, I just felt, like, worthless, and that was just a big part. And then my eating disorder came in with that, so it was, like, me just, like, hating who I was going into high school.
So, so you told me that you also struggled with, like, drug abuse during this time. And
Yes.
all of this together, like, do you think all of it, like, you having this low self-esteem and everything that happened, do you think that, like, pushed you to, like, turn to that sort of...
Yeah, so I started going to drugs because that was my coping mechanism.
Okay.
So, like, it helped numb the pain, and it just, like, helped me, like, just relax.
So when did you start, would you say?
I started using drugs my sophomore year.
Okay. Did you ever get, like, in trouble with the police with that? Ever?
I actually didn't get in trouble with police, but I've had, like, a lot of scary incidents with it.
Yeah.
Because, like, I've blacked out before and fell down a flight of stairs.
Seriously?
Like, yeah. So I've had a lot of scary incidents with it.
So when did you stop? Like, what helped you, like, move on from, like, what helped you get a new coping mechanism from that? Like, when did you step away from that?
I stepped away from it when I fell down those flight of stairs.
Really?
Because I woke up to my friend's mom saying, call 911, and freaking out because I hit my head super hard. And I just realized, I was like, oh my gosh, like, that is not okay.
Yeah. So, like, did you have to go to the hospital and...
I didn't end up going to the hospital or anything. Like,
Oh,
I
really?
did not tell anyone. I was like, this is not going anywhere.
Yeah. And when was that? When did you fall down the flight of stairs?
That was 2 or 3 weeks before I OD'd.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So when did your eating disorder start to develop?
I think my eating disorder started to develop towards the end of freshman year when I made the cheer team.
Okay.
And I don't even think it was because of the cheer team that I started to lose weight. It was just like my head space was like, you need to lose weight. Like, you need to lose weight. You need to do the best you can. Like, you need to be skinny.
Yeah. Happens to the best of us, right?
Yeah.
So, do you think, like, did you already have, like, a lower self-esteem because of what happened with your sexual abuse and stuff?
Yeah. So with the sexual abuse, I pictured myself as nobody. And I felt as if someone were to ask me to do something for them, I had to say yes or something was going to happen.
So, you already, like, did you have a bad body image before your anorexia start to develop? Like, did you already, from age 8, did you already see yourself that way?
Yeah, so at age 8, I was already like looking at my skin and like I knew I was small and everybody would tell me I was small, but in my head it was like, you need to lose weight, you need to lose weight, and you need to lose weight or nobody's going to love you.
So did that make you feel more in control? Like when you...
Yeah, so when I wouldn't eat, that was the one thing I could control.
Yeah. So what made it better? Like what, on your good days, like what did you feel made it better?
Just distractions, like being with friends and them distracting me, or like when they would eat, like I would take a couple small bites so they wouldn't notice.
Yeah.
And then after, like, I would feel good because I didn't eat much and they didn't, like, realize.
Yeah. And on your bad days, what made it worse?
Body image, like, if I were to, like, walk into the bathroom and look at my skin, it was always, like, I'd flick my shirt up, like, turn sideways and look at my stomach and pull out my skin. Like, so it was just, like, the bad days were me overthinking of everything. And it was like, okay, Jessica, you need to lose weight. Go into the bathroom, check your skin, make sure you're starting to lose weight.
Do you think your eating disorder contributed to your more suicidal thoughts?
Yes, I do.
Do you think, like, approaching October, that was, like, pushing you to, like, hate your life more?
Yeah, so with the depression and anxiety, that was like high off the roof. And then the body image, like, was a big contributor to it. So I feel like that's like a big part of it.
Did your parents, like, notice that you were not eating and that you were depressed and, like, making choices?
Yeah. So my parents realized that I was depressed because I would shut everyone out in my family. Like, I would literally go in my room and not talk to anyone. And then at meals, like, I would only eat a little bit and then throw it away. So they were, like, catching on. And before I OD'd, I actually went to a dietitian because my mom set it up because I was on the dance team at our school. And, like, I was just getting super lightheaded and I couldn't even do a full practice. And so we went to the dietitian, and that's when they were like, yeah, like, you need to gain weight. Like, you're going to die if you don't. And so for a whole week, I did everything it said on it. And then I ate everything, and then the rest of the time I would not eat.
So they tried to help you. Did they ever, like, get you a therapist or anything
So
like that?
actually, I did get a therapist.
Oh, really?
But I lied my way through the whole thing. Like, I did not want to do therapy. I did not want to get help. I was like, no, I'm not doing it. So I lied my way through, and he told me I was good to leave because I was doing good. But really, I just lied the whole time, so.
That tells you how good your therapist was.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, like you said with your friends, did they notice? Like your parents did?
So I actually put on a really good face in front of my friends, and none of them knew I was depressed. Like, I'd always put on a smile. I'd be as happy as I could be, and they noticed that I was thin. But when I was with them, I would eat tiny bits of food, so they didn't question it.
Yeah. Um. So, on that day, what it was
24th.
October 24th. What pushed you that day?
So the day before, my friend's little sister said that my friend tried to kill himself, which was a lie. So I was like freaking out that whole day, and I realized he was okay. And then I was like, okay, he's okay, like, he'll be good. And then I was having a really hard time at school because everybody was like, just calling me anorexic, like, everybody was like, you're so skinny, like, you need help, blah, 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 blah. And, like, I was not gonna, like, be like, yeah, I have anorexia, because your head doesn't want to admit it to people.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting in a huge argument with my mom that night, actually, and I ended up leaving the house with my friend, and she just got broken up with. Like, she was so upset, and I was like, oh my gosh. And, like, I felt like I needed to be there for her, but there was so much going on in my head. Like, my mom doesn't care, my dad doesn't care, like, I'm just done at this point. So when she dropped me off, I was in my room, and I was just sitting there, and I was, like, thinking of what to do, thinking, should I do this or not? And it got to the point where I was like, you know what, like, everyone would be better if you weren't here.
Oh, okay. So, like, what were, like, the last thoughts? Like, right before you, like, took action, like, what was, like...
So, the thing is my friend found out that I was wanting to kill myself that night. Like, she found out and called my parents.
Okay.
And my parents came in my room, and, like, I pretty much told them, I was like, I want to kill myself. Like, I don't want to be here. And they were like, we'll talk about this in the morning, and left my room. Yeah. And that was, like, okay, they don't care anymore to me. So my last thoughts were, like, they don't care anymore. Everyone will be happier. Like, I won't be such a burden. There won't be any more arguing. And my last thoughts were just like, it's better for me to not be here.
So, how did you OD? Like...
So, my original plan, this is a little graphic, but my original plan was to stab myself. Like, I already had a knife and everything, and when my parents came in, my dad asked me what I took. He's like, what did you take? Like, did you take pills? Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, no, like, I haven't done anything. And as soon as they left, I was just sitting there, and I was like, he just gave me the idea of pills. So in my head, I was like, okay, let's just do pills. Like, that'll go by faster. It won't hurt as bad. So I was like, okay. So I had medicine in my room, and it took a lot. Like, I was sitting there, and I was like, do I really want to do this? Like, should I do this? And it got to the point where I was just sobbing. Like, I could not breathe, and I was like, okay, like, this is the time. And in my head, I was like, okay, let's do this. And I had a handful of pills. I think it was 15 to 20, 20 to 30 pills. And I decided to take them, and I slit my wrist. So, yeah.
So you said that you went up to your parents after, or did they...
Yeah.
So how, were you, like, still conscious at that point, or...
Yes, I was still conscious. At that point, after I took them, like, I waited in my bed for a while, and I realized I was getting, like, super dizzy, like, I felt sick, and I just sat there, and I was like, I shouldn't have done that. And then, finally, I was just like, okay, let's go to my parents' room. So walking towards my parents' room, felt like I was going to pass out, like, told them, came in the kitchen, and my dad called, like, poisoning control, and was like, what do I do? Like, she OD'd, and they're like, you need to take her to the hospital. And I was like, I'm not going to the hospital. Like, it's not happening. And we ended up getting in a huge fight, like a huge, huge fight. I was like, I don't want to be here. Like, just leave my room. And they're like, no, we're not leaving your room. Like, we need to watch you. And I got to the point where I was like, take me to a hospital. I'd rather be on suicide watch with them instead of be here with you. So.
So did you lose conscious at all after, or?
I didn't end up losing consciousness. Like, I was super, super dizzy, but at one point I just like laid in bed and I finally just fell asleep.
So, what were you on the IV for in the hospital? Just like making sure everything was.
Yeah, so I was on the IV to help settle down my liver.
Okay.
And to try and get all of the medicine out.
Okay.
To flush it out.
So how did you feel when you like finally knew that you were okay? Like that you knew you were gonna like walk out?
I was mad. Like, when I woke up that morning, I was mad. Like, I was disappointed in myself that I didn't complete it. And I was angry. Like, I woke up and I went into the bathroom and I came out and my parents were like, what are you doing? And I was like, getting ready for school. Like, I didn't want to be in the house. I was leaving. And then they brought me to the hospital. And the whole day I was just like, I can't believe that it didn't work.
So after, when your friends and like other family members found out, were they there for you? Like, did they come and try and help you?
Yeah, so my friends were at a football game because they're cheerleaders. And I'm not allowed to have my phone or anything, so nobody could reach out to me. And my whole family came to visit me. And they were all like, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't know you were going through all this. And they were all there, which made me, like, realize, like, oh my gosh, they do care.
Yeah. So, when did you start healing? When did you start, like, gaining back your, like, confidence and, like, all that kind of stuff?
I would say that was at Center for Change.
Okay.
Because my therapist, I love her to death. Like, that's the best therapist I've ever had. And she actually had a brother that OD'd.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and she walked in on him and, like, luckily got him help. So, like, she helped me, like, with the mindset of it. And I just had to tell her everything and not lie about it. And she, like, helped me gain confidence for myself. And then seeing all the other girls that were so, so sick just made me, like, feel disgusted and feel so bad that I was ever at that point and feel so bad that everybody's that low.
Yeah. What did it take for you to, like, see, like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe that I was doing that or, like, in that mindset?
Yeah, so at Westridge Academy, there was this girl that I was friends with, and she was from Bermuda, and she was super, super, super suicidal. Like, every day I was the one that was catching her. Like, she was at Westridge, and I had to sleep in the living room because, like, I was just in trouble there. And she was on suicide watch, so she got to stay in the living room. And I remember one night I was laying down, and it sounded like she was, like, choking. And I looked over, and she had her shirt tied, like, super tight around her neck, and her face was going blue. So that, like, hit me. I'm trying not to cry. So that hit me, and I just realized, like, this girl is where I was, and she doesn't see a way out. So every day, like, I was the one that was stopping her, and oh my gosh, I'm trying not to cry. It turns out the day I left, before I left, I went and said bye to her, and I said, be safe. And as soon as I walked out of the kitchen, she was trying to electrocute herself. And we got her back to the house, and she was in her room, and I left, and I found out 30 minutes after I left, she hung herself.
Oh my gosh. So, like, at that point, you just felt like you couldn't, like, you would just never go back to that place, like, you...
Yeah, I realized, like, I knew where she was at in her head, and I knew that she, like, didn't think there was anything else, and I realized I was like, I could have done that, like, and that is a big mistake.
Oh my gosh. So what do you think was the hardest part out of your entire life, which was, like, a lot?
I think the hardest part was trying to prove that I was okay and, like, try and push my family away when I realized that they were, like, really trying to be there for me.
Did you ever think of, like, while you were in the homes and, like, all that kind of stuff, did you ever think, like how hard it would have been for your parents and stuff?
Yeah, so I was super angry with my parents when they sent me to West Ridge and Center for Change. Like, I was just pissed. I was like, you guys don't want me home? Like, you seriously don't care? And then I realized how much it hurt them that I wasn't home and that they didn't have the capabilities to take care of me.
So now, are you still getting help? Like, do you still go to therapy and...
Yeah, so with the corona stuff going on, I haven't been able to go to the center where my dietitian and my therapist is. So I have been getting Zoom calls from them. I get it once a month from my therapist and 2 months from my dietitian. So I haven't got it as much as I was because at the center I was getting it every day. But yeah, I'm still getting help.
Okay. If you could change one thing in your life, what would you change?
The way I viewed myself. Like, and the way that I...
Sorry, you totally cut out there.
Oh, I did, sorry.
Oh,
I said the way I viewed myself and the way that I hated myself.
What advice do you have for others who have gone through the same things you have?
Just remember that even when it feels like no one is there for you, that there is someone that does care, and that it's okay to not be okay, and it's also okay to just be okay.
That's really well said. Oh my gosh. What are your future goals moving on from all of this?
Go to college, try and get my degree.
That's fun. So in 5 years, you would want to be an RN, right?
Yeah.
An RN.
So in 5 years from now, I'm hoping I'm working in the nursery with the babies, and I am going to school for esthetician.
So for others, what would you say the best place to get help is?
For me, the best place for me was the center, but that's also because I had an eating disorder.
Yeah.
But if you don't have an eating disorder and you're going through that stuff, Westridge.
Okay. Thank you for...
You're welcome.
This is... your story's... Literally, I'm, like, so sorry for everything that you've had to go through. Like, I out of everyone I've interviewed, like, I've never heard, like, so much, like, pain and, like, it, like, hurts me to hear. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Okay. So, I think that's all. I hope everything for you goes well from here on out. And I
Thank you.
wish
You
the best
too.
for you.